Are you currently frustrated, annoyed, even pissed off? Or have you been pissed off, frustrated, and annoyed because your results were lackluster? You were following a nutrition plan, working out, and training hard, but for some reason your results just weren't happening the way you wanted, hoped, or expected? Well, the truth is your weekends are probably sabotaging you. And today I want to cover exactly how that's happening and why or what you can do to fix that and mitigate the problem. So first off, let me explain a couple key things here, guys. One, if we look at the overall stretch of a week, there's 7 days. If we broke that down and we were looking at the overall consensus of the week, there's 7 days divided by 100%. That would be each day in about 14%, right? So if we're looking at this as a day-by-day thing, each day has an impact of about 14%. All right, so let me explain that a little bit more. If we were taking a test in high school or middle school or anything like that, we'd have 4 grades or so, 5 grades that we'd go through. We'd have the possibility for an A, we'd have the possibility for a B, a C, a D, and an F. Basically, if we were looking at these guys, an A would be between the range of 100% to 90%. A B would be 89 to about 80%. A C would be 79 to 70%. A D would be 69 to 60%. And an F would be 59% and below, right? So we have a good idea of what we would be scoring if we were to be taking a test and looking at numbers, right? So if I gave you an 82%, you'd know, hey, I've got a B, or I'm around a B average. Well, let's look at this in real terms. We want to look at it in the impact of each day. So let me frame this in one perspective. If we do everything right except for one day, and we slip up one day, that means we have taken ourselves from the potential of an A all the way down to a B, almost automatically, just because that's 14% of our total week. That means if I messed up one day, I would take myself from an A and go down to about a B, because at that point I'm scoring about an 88%. Now imagine I had another impactful day such as Saturday where I didn't track or didn't follow my plan, and that has another impact of about 14%. That would put me again down into the C range. So here's the truth. If you're talking to me or a coach or anybody else and you say, oh, my nutrition is good, guess what? It's not good, because good is a CD range, and that's not good because that's not going to elicit the response and change that you want. So let's dive right in, guys. First, let's look at this as what we would normally be putting someone on. So for instance, if I had you on a 1,750 calorie diet or nutrition protocol per day, that would be based on your TDE, your total daily energy expenditure, your base metabolic rate, your total thermal effect of food, and all kinds of other roles that the metabolism and body are playing to burn and process the calories you're consuming. So we would be putting you on a nutrition protocol that would be ideal for your body. Let's say that number is 1,750 calories. So if we look and we put 1,750 calories in for 7 days, that would give us a total weekly calorie surplus or calorie quantity of about 12,250 calories. All right. So if we hit that and we followed it to a T and we did every day perfect, we'd end up with 12,250 calories. We'd also have about 100% compliance. That means that that week has been a success and you're going to elicit the response you want. But let me put this into a different perspective. As most people, we tend to cheat or go lax on our nutrition and diets, usually Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Let's, for instance, just again say we mess up one day, and let's say it's Saturday. So for now, instead of 1,750 calories on Saturday, we actually now consume 4,000. And the rest of the week is still the same. 1750, 1750, 1750, 1750. What has now happened, though, is every day has been on point except for Sunday. And that means we have negatively impacted our score of 100 down to about 86%. On top of this, we now have an increase of calories by, what is this going to be, guys? 50. So this is going to be an extra plus of 2,000 and we'll just say 50 calories. Oops. 2,250 calories. Sorry, my math skills are off this morning. So we'd have a surplus of plus 2,000 250 calories on top of our already 12,250 calories. Now, this is going to end up putting us at about 14,500 calories. Now, if we consider that, we have increased our total calories per week by 2,250. Now, if you don't know already, it takes about 3,500 calories to burn or to gain or lose weight. So basically, if you burn or expand 3,500 calories or consume about 3,500 calories, it will transfer over to being body fat or the loss of body fat, basically 1 pound. Okay, so now we're close to almost 1 pound of surplus calories that could be negatively impacting our results. Now imagine you're like most people and you actually do this for 3 days. So we again use our numbers. Everything is good on Monday through Thursday. So we're just going to say 1750 again, 1750 again, 1750 again, 1750 again. But now let's say Friday, we go out, we have some beers, we drink, we enjoy it, and we kind of nibble on some food that's on the table or whatever, and we end up eating and consuming about 3,000 calories. Then on Saturday, we do the same thing again with another 3,000, and on Sunday, we do 4,000. So what we've now done, guys, I gotta erase this real quick. What we have now done is we've increased our weekly surplus of calories in excess of what our ideal was, which was 12,250, into something more along the lines of, so this is 5,000, 5,000, 8,000, 11,000, 15,000. Hopefully that's right. So 6, 10, 15, yeah. All right, so now we're at about 15,000 calories, okay? And our intent was to only be at around 12,250. So you can see right away that you've got a surplus of about 3,750 calories that you were not ideally consuming. And as I already mentioned, 3,500 calories lost or gained will add 1 pound of body fat lost or 1 pound of body fat gained, right? So consider this. If this was your week, these 3 days alone have increased you by 1 pound. Now you might be saying, okay, Jeff, I'm not like that every day. But the truth is, just realize that if you do this 1 week, most likely the habit and routine is like that weekly. So if you come to the end of a year and you're realizing, oh my God, I've gained so much weight, realize that it's in this process or these days that's giving you this surplus. And let's just say that you do this for half the year. You do this every other week. Guess what happened at the end of 1 year? You have a surplus of 26 pounds gained. Right? You have 26 pounds gained because you decided to overeat on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday every other week. Imagine that. Your results are dictated by what you do, right? So if you want to achieve a result, you have to realize that your weekends are probably sabotaging you because 1, you're not tracking, or 2, you're tracking lightly, or 3, you're being lax on the foods that you eat, or 4, you just don't give a shit and you're eating whatever. But just realize, even with 1 lax day, you've almost surplused yourself by an additional 1 pound. If you excess calories for more than 2 to 3 days, you've excessed yourself into an additional pound of body fat gained that week, even though you might be training. Now again, let's look at this, guys. If we had 14%, and 14%, you're already at 28% just in 2 days. And what is this? 42%. So what is this? 28, 42, 28. So you're at 42% loss if you don't follow this Saturday or Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now imagine where you would be on a scorecard in a high school. You'd be in a D. Are you wondering why you're not getting ahead in your results? Are you wondering why your results are not as good as possible? Because you're only compliant 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 days out of the week. Even with one lax day of compliance, you're still going to have a surplus that's going to positively gain you weight compared to losing you. And also, again, you're not inside of a very good score sheet. So if you were to look at this, you'd say, okay, when you really put this into perspective, you can actually see and validate, okay, what I'm doing is actually not that good because I'm getting a score that's giving me a C or D. In no way would we, in real world situations, be like, oh yeah, you got to see, that's great. Good job. Awesome. I'm really excited for you. No, you'd be like, okay, we need to figure this out and move you to the next level, get you into the B, get you into the A. And that's what you want to be doing here, guys. So just realize that one day alone will have a massive sabotage effect, but literally 2 or 3 days can literally be gaining you an additional pound of body fat per week if you don't follow your nutrition plan. So what do you want to focus on? You want to focus on consistently dialing in your nutrition throughout the week, focusing on performing and getting yourself into the maximal or ideal calorie ranges each and every day. Now you may be saying, well, Jeff, I want to have some sweets or enjoy my life a little bit more on maybe a Saturday or Sunday. That's perfectly fine. You can do that. But what I would suggest is adjusting your calories to offset what you're going to be doing that weekend. If you know that you're going to be going to a pizza party that's going to have cupcakes and all kinds of stuff, and you're going to have an open day, and you most likely are hitting something around 14,000 calories, what we would do here is obviously we want to be more around the 1,750. So I would look at the number and I'd say 4,000. And I would just minus out 1,750, right? So this means I would have, boom, let's just do some math here, guys. Two. So right now we've got an extra surplus of 2,250, okay? That's if we don't change anything throughout the week. Now what we would want to do is actually just look at this and say 2,250 calories. All right, well, I've got 6 other days that look good for me. So I would just take 2,250 and divide it by 6. Now this is going to put us right about, so we'll just say 3, 18, 4, 5. This is going to be putting us at 385 excess calories per day, right? Can you imagine that? Just imagine if I consume 385 excess calories per day, what's that going to do to my goal? It's going to be drastic and it's not going to help me hit that. However, here's what we do. Okay, guys? We know that we would be consuming an excess calories on Sunday. We again would figure out that this is going to be an excess calories, about 2,250 calories in excess. What we would then do is break it down by the remaining days of ideal nutrition, which would be 6. And then from here, this is up to you. You can make this decision or not. You would realize that you have about 385 calories that would have to be minused from each day. That means if you want to have this binge day on Sunday, you need to minus out 385 calories per day for the other remaining 6 days to offset that one negative day. Now, the real question becomes, is that worth it? Is that worth it to offset and almost feel starved or a little bit hungrier Monday through Saturday just so you can overindulge on Sunday? And that's still only allowing you to sit inside of your main numbers. If you fluctuate or go over, you're going to have an excess fat gain. If you continue to have the minimal numbers that you need, the ideal numbers, you're going to have the weight loss that you want. But it must happen because of the calories. So when you're frustrated and annoyed because you're not seeing the result, realize that it's not because of what you're doing inside the gym or not doing inside the gym. It literally has to do with one thing, and that's simply this. It has to do with what you pick up and what you shove in your mouth. Doesn't matter if it's liquid or food. That is the main factor on why you are or are not gaining weight, or are not losing the weight that you want. Because simply the fact of one binge day can put you almost close to an excess of 1 pound. Again, imagine this, guys. I use the hypothetical term that this was the 3 days a week thing was done every other week. That put the intent, the person that we were using as a hypothetical situation, at an excess of 26 pounds of body fat gained over the course of a year. The same thing can be said for the individual that only has one cheat day a week or one excess non-tracked, non-diligent day. They would be putting on close to about 22 pounds of excess body fat over the course of the 1 year if they did that on a weekly basis. Imagine that. This is why it's so hard for people to lose weight, because they don't realize the subtleties in just the numbers. The numbers are what makes and breaks you. And so making sure that you can manage them, stay inside of them, and get the numbers where you want them will help you get the results you want. And again, the best way for you guys to think about this is just managing your financial or your nutrition finances, right? If you just think this is finances for your nutrition, it's much easier to manage and balance, right? You have a checkbook and you can balance out, okay, I've got bills going in here, here, and here, and here, but I still have to have money for rent or this other activity. That's what financial or nutrition balancing is basically all about. Balancing your intakes to allow yourself to be able to spend where you want, but also have enough still in reserve to where you're still going to have the surplus or the required need to hit and achieve your goal, right? So again, let's clear this real quick up, guys. On average, the average day is about 14% of your week. If you mess up just one day, simply one day would take you from an A all the way down to a B. If you mess up 2 days, that's going to be taking you all the way down to a C grade. If you mess up 3 days, that's taking you all the way down to a D, if we were to be grading ourselves. Now, again, the intent here is to keep or manage our calories inside of our goal prescription numbers. If we have one offset day of maybe, let's say, 4,000 calories compared to our 1,750, it's going to be putting us at almost 2,500 excess calories. Again, as I already mentioned, 1 pound of body fat is about 3,500 calories. So to gain 1 pound, you have to consume in excess of 3,500 calories. To lose 1 pound, you have to burn in excess of 3,500 calories. If I consume an additional 2,500 calories one time a week, every week, I would end up at the end of the year gaining nearly 22 plus pounds, right? That's not good. So we want to make sure we're managing that. If we need to do that, if you need to manage that, we would take the excess calories that we would consume on a Sunday or a Saturday, we divide it out by the remaining perfect days, and that would give us our end number that we would minus or subtract off the additional days. That would allow us to offset and rebalance. Now, that might not ideally be perfect for people, because that means that instead of 1,750 calories, in this case, you'd be consuming somewhere around 1,250. That's pretty low, and that would make someone feel pretty lethargic, tired, and groggy. All right? So then we move to the next kind of template that most people would be following, and that's following nutrition Monday through Thursday, and then letting Friday, Saturday, and Sunday be lax. Now again, we follow that same protocol, and now this time we have about 3,000 calories on Friday, 3,000 calories on Saturday, and 4,000 calories on Sunday. That's putting us at nearly, or actually it's putting us at a surplus of 3,500 calories. That means if we just did this every other week, we would gain, again, over 26 pounds in the course of a year by not doing much more than just letting ourselves be relaxed on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if you're struggling to get your result, realize that it's all in this. This is what's causing you the problems and the weight gain. It's all about the input and the output. You have to make sure that you're putting in as much as you need, but not putting in more than you need. Otherwise, guess what's going to happen? You're going to gain weight or not lose the weight that you want. So what you do now, you figure out what your total daily calories are. You figure out what your total end week calories should be, and that is your end goal to hit. If you can manage to be within about 100 to 200 calories of your total weekly calorie intake, you'll be seeing the intended result you want. But if you have an increase or more than that, you're probably going to have a hard time losing the weight that you want, because your body is not burning or losing enough calories, and it's taking in too many for it to use, so it's becoming stored as body fat, and that's not what you want. So hopefully this makes sense to you guys. You understand that each day has about a 14% impact on the total week. You understand that this is going to be a big impact on you if you even have one off day, let alone 3, and how it's drastically going to impact your results and actually probably have you gain weight instead of losing weight like you want, all because you wanted to have one lax day or even 3.